all depends on the bench. If they can contribute any, I think, they'll definitely beat Boston, and we'll see against Cleveland, man. But like you said, it's all on John Wall to take them there this year.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about, I think, which is gonna be an interesting series, because you don't know what Raptors team, you don't know what Lowry you're gonna get. But the Cavaliers versus the Raptors, we get a rematch from last year, and to me, this is not going to be easy for the Cavs. But the Cavs are going to win this series. I'm probably going to say in 5.
Wow!
I can see the Raptors maybe getting 1, but you just cannot trust the Raptors, and you got to think about Cleveland getting that break. They're probably going to come out a little slow, a little soft, I think, in game 1. But after that, LeBron, and in the words of my man Tyler from Enough with the BS podcast, and the LeBroneers, I think they got this. They got this. Bearing any type of injury, the matchups to me is what's going to win this for Cleveland, because who's going to guard? Obviously, who's going to guard LeBron? Obviously, who's going to, Kyrie, you could probably D up Kyrie. Kevin Love, who you going to put up against him? He's so flexible. So what's your thoughts on this Cavs versus Raptors?
Yeah, like you said, man, it's Cleveland and everybody else in the East. Drake is going to have to get on the court for Toronto to win this one and sing to LeBron or something like that. It's not going to happen. They're loaded offensively. I think they're rolling better than they did even in the season. Cal Korver, Kevin Love, and Kyrie, they didn't even have to play in the fourth quarter of their last game because the bench was playing at an all-time high. Again, it's LeBron James. Everyone has said, it's James Harden and Russell Westbrook's year. LeBron showed us, do not count him out. He's the king for a reason. He dominated their last game offensively and defensively. I think Toronto, like you said, all the hype they got early on is deflated. DeMar DeRozan is a great player, but he still hasn't taken that next step to that level of a LeBron, of a KD, like we thought he would this year after signing that major deal. I had Milwaukee coming out. I love the Greek Freak. I think he played great. He just didn't have enough firepower with his team. I just think Toronto right now, like you said, Kyle Lowry is up and down. You can't be that in the playoffs, especially as a point guard in this league. Kyrie Irving is going to come at him full blast. I think this is going to be a big series for Kyrie. He's going to show he's still a top 5 point guard. And it's always about the defensive end for Cleveland. When they dominate on the defensive end like they've done in the past, it's an easy series for them. When they don't, they struggle a little bit. Toronto might get 2 games if they do struggle on defense, but I think they won't. I think they'll be all focused in this series. And I'm saying sweep. Toronto might get 1, but yeah, I don't think they'll have a problem with Toronto at all.
Okay, sweet. All right. And I gotta go to the chat line here real quick. We got Miss Mocha says the Raptors ain't gonna win. They barely beat the Bucks. Amen to that. You're right. And I think me and you both picked the Bucks in 7, and they almost got it. If the Bucks are such a young team, if they had like a veteran presence on that team, who knows what they would have been this year. So I think that's probably going to be their focus in the offseason is, really focusing on getting, I think, a veteran presence. So we got the second round pretty much set up. We got the Jazz and the Clippers. We're going to have that game tomorrow. So it's going to be interesting second round. And one other thing I want to touch on here is Dame Lillard basically came out and said beating the Warriors became an obsession. And It will continue to be an obsession for you, because there is no way that your Trailblazers are going to beat the Warriors in a 7-game series, not even in a 5-game series. But what's your thoughts on Portland going into the offseason? What does their focus need to be?
Yeah, man. I've talked to many associates at Adidas, man. Like, they always push Dame Lillard. Anything he says, quotes, raps, anything, they push it to the public. And this is a big thing there. They're trying to push this as when Mike and the Bulls had to go through Isaiah and the Pistons all those years before they made it. So that's what they're pushing it as, but I don't see it. Golden State, they're not gonna fall off any, probably in the next 4 years, and I don't think it's not about them falling off. It's about the Blazers getting better. They're not in position to take that next step talent wise at all. They have two great players. That's it. Both of them, they both signed big deals, so they're both going to be there. But they have to add more talent in the draft or in free agency. And I don't see any big-time players coming to Portland. So I don't agree with it. I think they're still going to be at that 8 spot, 7 spot, going in years to come. I don't see them making that next step because I don't see any big-time talent coming there. So Portland, they have a great player in Dame Lillard. He's committed to them. But if they don't come up with any type of other big time talent, they're still gonna be, 8 seed, 7 seed for the years to come.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, Mike Truth in the building. Appreciate you so much for coming on the show. We'll definitely be doing this on the next show, breaking down the next series of games or whatever's going to be going down. So appreciate you as always. And let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
I appreciate it. Of course, you can catch me at King of B-Ball News on Twitter. Of course, people have been checking me out. The draft is coming up. All top players, all your top teams, who they're looking at. The list has come out. The players that already has put their names in. We have big-time players coming back in Alonzo and Miles Bridges. But I want to talk about Lonzo Ball. I have a story on my Twitter right now about him and all the shoe deals that didn't come to form. So check that out. And, man, I can't wait to come back next time.
All right. Definitely, man. Take care, and we'll be talking.
All right.
All right, take care. All right, that was my man Mike Truth, bringing the truth like he always does on the BS3 Sports Show, talking NBA playoffs, breaking down what's going on in the NBA. Big shout out in the chat room. We got Sharice. Appreciate you for jumping in. Also, we got my man Vince Wright, the sports governor of Minnesota. He'll be coming on the show in about 3 minutes. So appreciate him as well. So enough with the BS podcast says. Yeah, unfortunately, Dame will have that obsession for the rest of his life. Agreed. Antonio Wellborn says, Dame forgot Aldridge was gone. Yeah, he thought he had a piece on his team that could come up against the Warriors, and he doesn't. It's him. Him and CJ McCollum. That's it. McCollum and Dame. They can come out with a rap group. They should probably do like Kid and Play, do some house parties, House Party 6 or whatever house party it would be. They would be great movie stars, but they cannot and will not beat the Warriors unless they get someone, whoever it may be. They need a top player on that team, and that's what the problem is. All right, so we are still in the 5th round of the draft. A couple notable picks. Jake Butt, the great Jake Butt, got picked by the Broncos in the beginning of the 5th. He had a torn ACL in Michigan's bowl game, but when he is healthy, he is supposed to be a top tight end. And my bad. Miss Mocha says, what happened, Ben? I didn't get a clap. Miss Mocha in the building. I'm going to give you double claps. Appreciate you. Always great to have you on the show. Always great to have you in the chat room, Always helping to share out all the shows on the X Squad and WSME. Appreciate you. All right, so like I mentioned, Jake Butt, Desmond King, free safety from Iowa. I was hoping that was going to be a Cowboys pickup. That didn't end up working out. He was a pretty major guy right there. Also, let me see. We got Jeremy McNichols, Boise State. He was an A- grade by CBS Sports. Got picked by the Buccaneers. So Still going along in this NFL draft going down today. Fun times. Got my man, Mr. Controversy, in the building of the 3-point conversion station. He had a great show today. Make sure you go check that out on Spreaker.com, the 3-point conversion station. Always got great shows on Saturday. Always got great things going on. Sorry to your Bears in the situation that you guys are in right now. Wish you all the best. Actually, I don't, because I'm not a Bears fan. But hopefully something works out with Trubisky, because I am a North Carolina fan, and I want to see the best. I want to see the best out of Trubisky. All right, so Vince Wright should be calling in here in just a moment. We're going to break down Joshua versus Klitschko. This is a big fight. This is actually a huge fight, I think. I think with Joshua in defending his title again, and I think he is a top boxer. He's 18-0, and Klitschko is coming off a loss from Tyson Fury, so I think that's going to be interesting fight, and we'll get into that here in a moment. My Cowboys don't have a pick in the 5th round, so we have to wait until the 6th. But I will say this, I'm very happy with every single pick. I'm very happy. And we will get into Cowboys Draft a little bit later on in the show, right after Vince, and we're going to break down each pick. And we got the sports governor of Minnesota, of the X Squad. Appreciate you for coming on. How's it going, Vince?
Hey, what's going on?
Great, man. Great to get you on. I know your Saturdays are always booked. You know, you're running around. You got kids. You know, you got things to work on. So I appreciate you taking time out of your Saturday to come on.
Not a problem.
All right. So Joshua versus Klitschko. The Brit versus the Ukrainian. AJ versus Dr. Steelhammer. What kind of nickname is that in the first place? Dr. Steelhammer.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a phenomenal spectacle. 90,000 plus over in Wembley Stadium. And, you know, ironically, this heavyweight fight, Ben, has turned into a legitimate, very followed fight. And I can't wait. It actually starts here in about 45 minutes.
Yeah, we are like right because it is at Wimbledon, and that's, you know, out of the country, so their time is totally different than ours. So yeah, we'll be starting here pretty soon in London, England, and I'm really starting to get back into boxing because there's been some top boxing matches, and right. I'm pretty excited about this one. I think this is like a heavyweight bout that a lot of people have been waiting to see. And also, not to mention, whoever wins this fight is supposedly going to fight the Bronze Bomber. So, but what's your thoughts on this fight, you know, from both sides? You know, Anthony Joshua first.
All right. Well, yeah, you know, Anthony Joshua, in my opinion, is slightly ahead of Deontay Wilder in terms of development. And I've said that on my shows and on my boxing show, Ben. I really believe that. What he needs to do is to really just come out and set the tone. And, you know, that sounds really basic and easy to do, but he needs to come out, establish the jab. And if I was him, I'd really start working the body early as well. You know, he's going to have the whole world behind him. He's fighting in front of, you know, between 90 and 100,000 of his closest friends. If he can come out there, establish the jab early, and really dictate the pace to Klitschko and kind of, you know, get Klitschko off guard again, you know, does Klitschko sit there and go, you know what, I don't want any part of this? Or does Klitschko, for one of the few times, actually start engaging and letting his hands go? Joshua has great power in both hands, and it's going to be real interesting to see if he can put it on the chin of Dr. Iron Fist.
Right. That'll be interesting. I think that'll be the biggest thing. And there was a note from this week that Joshua came into this fight, weighing at 250. That's a career